was having some sound interference, and so I took a moment to see what I could do about it, which was not much. And then I reflected on the fact that this whole year is about interference. Everything that we had planned has been interfered with. And I worked in high-end show business for 20 years in New York City, and everything that we did had to be perfect. The curtain goes up at a certain time. If you don't sleep for 3 days before that curtain goes up, it doesn't matter, because the curtain goes up when it does. When we would be flying aerialists 30, 40 feet above the ground, everything had to be perfect because there were lives on the line. When the camera comes on, it's very important. But you know what? In 2020, it's different. In 2020, this is the new era of us all just getting to be who we are. And the truth is, if a lot of stress and tension gets around being perfect, then we're not who we're needing to be in this moment. We're not helping the situation. It's very different. We're growing into a brand new era. This is my favorite bowl. This is my rhodochrosite G bowl. And it's grounding me to hold it right now. Just like so many of you have crystals or rocks, stones, things like this, talismans that you keep near because they ground you. It's a very good time to keep those things near you. So let's talk for a moment before we get started on this week's sound healing. COVID cases are going up in the States. And so I just want to share with you from my experiences with COVID, what I learned about really digging deep. Western medical doctors can't recommend for you everything that is maybe the very best for you because it's not proven in their medical industry. And so, but I can. So one of the most important things that you can do to create your body as something other than a hospital, as a non-hospitable, a non-welcoming environment for COVID-19 is eat a high alkaline diet. That's the opposite of a high acidic diet. And really it consists of a lot of raw fruits and vegetables, and cutting out a lot of acidic foods. So just Google that and see what that entails. It's a very easy thing to do, but when your body is acidic, it comes into a natural balance within, and when the body is alkaline within, then you get that nice natural balance. And an alkaline body is a natural resistance to viruses. So it's a wonderful place to start, Take all your vitamins, do all of those good things, get exercise, be strong in your body so that if COVID comes along, it doesn't just knock you off your feet. If you do get COVID, keep moving. It's very important to not let it settle in your lungs as much as possible. And there's all kinds of holistic treatments that you can do. You can get nebulizers online and use things like food-grade hydrogen peroxide in them to breathe into your lungs. Do the research online, get the recommendations there. But do take it into your own hands to do everything that you can if you get it. So stay healthy. Now, we have a very divided country, and it's not a surprise how we move forward here. It doesn't mean that one era is completely over and another era completely begins, and now is when everything changes. We all voted one way or the other. Hopefully you voted one way or the other. and I'm here to say this. I have my own opinions. I voted myself, but I don't care who you voted for. That's not the work that we're doing here. And really, in the big picture, in the spiritual picture, in the energetic picture, which is the work that we're doing here, and it is the work that everyone, everywhere is doing, whether or not they're aware of it or not. From that perspective, the only thing that matters is that you're not spending your energy, the inner turnings of your wills, both mentally, emotionally, and energetically, pushing against something, fighting against something, making others wrong, individuals or a party or a group. That is counterproductive to the whole of humanity getting to where we want to be. So the work here energetically is about moving out of that microcosm, and from this perspective, even politics is a microcosm, and moving into, this macroverse of all things as energy. You are energy. Collective consciousnesses are energy. Political parties are energy. They make things happen one way or the other. The most important thing that we can do is become a high frequency energy. We can move into, with great intention, fifth dimension energy, which is when we start moving beyond third and fourth dimension. And if you look, everything that's being fought for in the political parties is third and fourth dimension. It's, it's meat and bones, it's stuff and things. There's not a lot that's being really fought for there that actually is energetic. And so moving into higher states of consciousness, moving with great intention into the dormant parts of the mind, of your beautiful brain, all of that brain that has been waiting, that exists already, is there and waiting for you to unlock access to it. And that requires some intention. It doesn't just happen on its own. Unlocking that dormant DNA, what is termed junk DNA within you. Just as we learned about, all the parts of the body that, if the doctors couldn't figure out what it was for, they would go in and cut it out. Then later they would learn that it was there for a purpose. Well, all that stuff inside of your DNA that science calls junk DNA, that DNA that has the bird gene that grows wings, and the salamander gene that regrows body parts when they're lost. It's amazing. They're all in there. The difference between your DNA and everyone else's DNA and the DNA of all the animals and creatures on Earth is so tiny. It's so minute. So these are very subtle changes, and the work is done subtly within. It's why things like this, like meditation and sound healing, are so important at this time, to allow you to go in and access or discover the subtle levels of your being so that you can have those conversations within. One of the most remarkable moments of my life was when I recognized I was really yearning, I was striving towards this deep spiritual growth. And I took myself out of the mix. I took myself out of New York City, and I took myself to Bali, and I was in this beautiful home in Bali where it was very peaceful, deeply peaceful. To some people, a peacefulness, a quiet like that would almost be disturbing. But to me, it was heaven. And I sat in stillness for months. And it was during that time that I began to become aware of a rearranging of my energetic system within. years later, I started reading in books and hearing from my spiritual peers and teachers about this energetic rearranging. The beginning of bringing that dormant DNA and that dormant mind online. It begins in the chakras, and not just the 7 chakras within the body, the 7 energy centers. And if those are kind of new to you, think of it like this. These are the places in your body where you create energy rather than using energy. And these are the places in your body that represent every single aspect of your being. Now, when I said not just the chakras in your body, there's also chakras above and below. 12. And when those chakras become balanced and harmonized and awake and alive, when you come to a state where you can actually feel, tap into them, and you start to notice where one's weaker and one's stronger, and learn how to feed the ones that are weaker and balance everything. This is when the 12 chakras come online and begin to awaken spontaneously those dormant aspects of the self. You know, through all my spiritual studies, there were times when I completely poo-pooed the chakras for studies in other realms that were more interesting to me. But no, it's not a spiritual fad. It's not something created to sell books in the bookstore. We are energy. The most important thing that we can do right now is awaken at the subtle levels. And so let's begin. I've been talking for a long time today. As we go into the sound portion of this session today, I always recommend wearing earbuds or headphones to really receive the vibrational frequencies of the instruments that were created for the purpose of healing. In meditation, it's wonderful to have the intention of not falling asleep, but becoming deeply aware. And with the chakras, with the energy centers in mind, it's wonderful to have that perfectly straight spine. And so inviting you now to come into a position that lengthens the spine from the root of your tailbone out the top of your head, and take an inhale. Playing with the positioning, the rotation of the hips and the shoulders, and see how straight you can make that line. You know, those of us who work long hours in computers, very often the upper back begins to curl forward, the shoulders start to hunch, and this creates a rounded upper back, which creates a neck that kind of hunches forward, prohibiting energy to travel cleanly from the root of the tailbone to the top of the head. And so, one of the greatest recommendations for that is a foam roller to open the upper back. Something easy to do. And as you open the upper back and the shoulder blades begin to move back where they're meant to be and the heart begins to move forward, that line of energy straightens out. This is one of the great purposes of yoga. It's impossible to sit for hours for the purpose of attaining the enlightenment in meditation and yoga if the upper spine is curved and the neck is forward. So, taking a breath that delivers you exactly and perfectly into this moment, separate from every other moment of this day, separate from every other thought and emotion. In this moment, in this exact moment, there is only the beat of the heart, the breath. There is only the ever so subtle movement of the sun or the moon across the sky. And then it unfolds into the very next moment. Exactly here, exactly now. There is only you, life. The energy, the source that gives this life. And it's from this place where the work at the subtle energies, the work at the macrocosm begins. Today we practice building that muscle of coming instantly into presence. Rather than that long, luxurious road of systematically softening the muscles of the body, letting go of the thought, softening the nervous system. We build the muscle of arriving in a moment, arriving in the span of the beat of a heart, the span of a breath. And here we are. As simple as we are complex, as perfect as we are flawed. As fleeting as we are eternal. As magnificent as you allow yourself to know yourself. Choosing the one true choice, life. Choosing light, love, source. Choosing to be a stand. For not the other person or the party. Choosing in this moment to be a stand. for universal love, the divine intelligence by which, if all of humanity operated from, there would be no hunger, there would be no poverty. As soft as it is powerful, right here, right now, this exact moment, in which all of eternity exists. Dropping all of your awareness into your heart of hearts, the center of center. And practicing into being, the reaching out from your heart to connect with all other hearts like yours, all other hearts that are also on the mission of being universal love and divine intelligence. Feel this connection, the outpouring and the inpouring. Feel the oneness, the uplifting, the awakening, the expansion. Take a deep breath and create even more space within yourself to receive, to allow in universal love and divine intelligence. Oneness with all others on this mission. And now, bonded together as one, you and I and all on this mission of raising universal love and divine intelligence in the hearts and minds of humanity, together as one. we flow our love now from our heart of hearts, our collective heart of hearts, into the hearts of those who are unknowing, unaware of such possibilities, those who are lost, those who would want such a peace, such a presence, but doesn't understand yet that it exists. Do this now. Take a deep breath and expand your physical body to create even more space, to allow in the inflow and also allow the outflow of this oneness with all of those on earth, all of humanity who would want this peace, who would want universal love and divine intelligence as a way, all of those who would want abundance and nourishment for all. Together here, bonded together as one. All of those in humanity who would wish for this peace, this universal love and divine intelligence, we bond together now to flow from our heart of hearts this love and divine intelligence into the hearts of those on earth who, for whatever reason, are in resistance to peace. Great compassion, we flow this forth. And where the frequency of love is resisted by them, we seek to simply surround them with our light, that they may awaken in their own time. so we surround the earth and all of its inhabitants, human and otherwise. We flood the energy grids of earth with universal love, divine intelligence, and light. Inviting you now to notice that as you participate in this raising of frequency throughout all of humanity, notice the energy, the love, the light that pours back into you. The light of gratitude, the gratitude of humanity, the gratitude of all the creatures with whom humanity shares the earth, the gratitude of the oceans and the earth, the gratitude of Source. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to expand, creating even more space within to receive the light of gratitude. The highest frequency in the universe. Receiving the light of gratitude in return for the work that you have done here today for yourself. So taking that breath once again that delivers you right here, right now, building that muscle of arriving in presence in the span of a heartbeat, the span of a breath, and noticing the flow of energy within you, the lightness that you feel, the groundedness that you feel at the same time. This exercise of being here in your physical body, in your life, amongst your friends and family, your co-workers, and simultaneously being aware of the subtle energies within, the energy centers within you, the places where you produce energy rather than use energy, their alignment and balance, your connection with the collective consciousness of all of humanity, your influence on the energy grids of Earth that in turn affect all of humanity and all of Earth. And how by doing this work, not just when we meet here in these sacred circles, but every day, and maybe eventually throughout the day, and maybe eventually every moment of every day, how when you do that work, step by step by step, you raise your frequency, you open your heart, you awaken the dormant aspects of your mind, you align your energy centers, and eventually you get to explore what is in the dormant DNA within you. If not now, when? Thank you so much, everyone, for taking this journey with me today. I took us slightly over time today because there was a calling for it. This has been a very, very intense last week, and I know that everyone is really feeling that. I'm getting a lot of reports of people feeling very tense in their nervous systems breaking down and minds overloading. So, it's understandable, but at any given moment, you can check yourself out of all that swirl on Earth and check yourself right in here to presence, this exact moment. They are two different planes of existence. And so eventually we learn how to exist on both, and how when we are existing in those subtle frequencies and choosing the higher frequencies within, how it slowly over time begins to lift us up and out of that lower plane of existence, of the nuts and bolts of life on Earth in 2020. So do the work, stay the course, be present, reach out. I'm right here. You can find me at shellyreef.com. If you're interested in working further with me, working one-on-one, or learning any of the instruments that I play for yourself, those are my favorite things to teach. There's many more events coming up in the future. I'm taking a little bit of time right now to work on a really amazing benefit. It's for Chemo Buddies for Life. If you haven't heard of it, especially if you or anyone that you know is going through the process of cancer, and whether you're choosing chemo or choosing natural processes to battle that, there is an amazing support community there for you. It's Chemo Buddies for Life, and November 30 to December 3rd, we will be hosting a 36-hour ongoing give-a-thon online. I'll have all the contact information for that coming up. So I am creative director of comedy. So if you happen to be one of those funny people, or a casting director, or know some very funny people who would like to submit some work, please put them in contact with me, and it's going to be a really good time. So many blessings to all of you. Thank you. May the light of your high self light your path brightly. May every breath, step, word, and gesture be an expression of that within you, which is divine, which is awake, enlightened, which is just waiting for you to open the door to that. And may you be the light that lifts up all the others, be they seeking or otherwise. Thank you so much. Many blessings. I'm here every Sunday and Thursday.